Right now, we have several guests in to talk about a very important issue here in the Battle Creek area. And first of all, Amanda Lankerd, CEO with the Battle Creek Association of Realtors, joins us. Hi, Amanda.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here again. And also, we've got Beverly Kelley from Habitat for Humanity. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
And we have somebody we don't know yet, but we do now, Patina Mays from the Fair Housing Center of Southwest Michigan. Good morning, Patina.
Good morning.
Nice to have you with us today.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about whether or not there's discrimination in housing still. I mean, it's the year 2019. Fair Housing Act has been around for, I don't know, when did that come in, like 1968?
50 years.
50 years. Last year was the
50 years
50th
last year.
anniversary.
Yeah, and so I guess, well, first of all, let's preface this with the event that's coming up next Tuesday, Amanda, bringing in a renowned author, and there's a dinner. There's a lot of events kind of tied to this.
Yes, there are. So next Tuesday, January 15th, we're bringing in an author, Richard Rothstein. He wrote a book called The Color of Law, A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America. And why this is so important is because in his book, Richard Rothstein talks about de jure segregation versus de facto. And what de facto means is just kind of our personal tendencies, steering, those types of things. Whereas de jure is actually by law. So segregation by law rather than by preference.
So I was thinking maybe more indirect, but in many aspects more direct.
More direct. Yeah. So he's going to be talking about his book, and that's again on January 15th. That's at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church at 636 West Van Buren, and we are providing dinner. Everything is free at 5 o'clock. Mr. Rothstein's presentation begins at 6 o'clock. We're providing free childcare, free dinner, and then there will also be Spanish interpretation.
What was the impetus to bring author Rothstein in and to talk about this particular subject? Katina?
Well, we actually did some investigation in the Battle Creek area and found that there was still discrimination that exists. And so we felt that we wanted to address that. The Fair Housing Center, we are a person that educate the public about fair housing. We enforce it when it's not taken seriously, and we advocate for those that are affected by it. So we felt that Richard Rothstein would be a good person to come and talk to the public, the community as a whole, about the segregation, how it started, and then we can open up the community about a discussion of what we need to do to move forward and to address the issue.
And so our Association of Realtors and Habitat for Humanity have kind of joined in on the event. How did Beverly, Kelley, how did Habitat get involved, and what are you guys up to with this?
We were invited to be a part of this because, of course, Habitat is such advocates for housing in Battle Creek, especially for low income. And for me, I came to the table, started reading the book, and it was a personal transformation for me. I had, one of the neighborhoods affected was Post Edition. I lived there, watched these things happening, but really didn't have a clue why they were happening. And people weren't choosing. I thought they chose to live where they lived. And now, after reading the book and doing some investigation on Battle Creek's history, have learned they really didn't have a choice. That there were some people in that neighborhood who certainly didn't have a choice to live elsewhere.
And are we talking about, renting, buying homes, the whole thing? I mean, where the problem lies pretty much everywhere?
Yes.
So what we're talking about is, with the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, basically abolished slavery. Everybody is supposed to be treated equally. However, there were plats created, government funded programs that did not allow African Americans or other people of color from living in newly developed neighborhoods. So FHA financing for different plats or subdivisions. Whites only could purchase homes in those areas. So although we were supposed to be equal, there were government programs that segregated our metropolitan areas.
Are those still in effect?
No.
With the passage of the Fair Housing Law, that negated all of those. However, the city of Battle Creek created a map of plats that were developed from, I think, 1940 to 1959. And we have plats still in Battle Creek, and I'm sure across the nation, that have some very disturbing language in deeds that do not allow African Americans to live in those neighborhoods. However, there's a small little sentence at the bottom that says, basically, with the passage of the Fair Housing Act, that those are no longer enforceable. But the language is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a radical difference, Katina, between, since you're in both communities, Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, in terms of fair housing? Or do you see a lot of the same parallels, or is one community got more work to do than another?
A lot of people think that Kalamazoo may have a little more work to do than Battle Creek, but I believe it's because it's a little bit bigger than Battle Creek. I believe that it exists quite equally, unfortunately, if you count the population as opposed to, the number of people that's going after housing in the area. We've done systemic investigations in both areas and found similar types of discrimination in both Battle Creek and Kalamazoo.
And since you're in the trenches, what are some of the direct complaints that you get? What types of things do people call the Fair Housing Center of Southwest Michigan and report?
Yes. So we have people that call and say that they feel they may have been discriminated against in trying to find a house in a specific predominantly white neighborhood, and that they wanted to see if we can look into it to find out, and then we'll do an investigation, and more than often we'll find that they have a legit claim. And then we've had people that said that they don't feel they've been offered the right terms at a bank. So it's more than just realtors. We look at realtors, landlords, banks, anyone that has a hand in providing housing.
I see. All right. We're talking about fair housing in Battle Creek. Amanda Lankerd of the Battle Creek Association of Realtors is with us. They are helping to bring a dinner and speaking forum and discussion by with Richard Rothstein, who's the author of The Color of Law, A Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America. And it'll be interesting to see, some of the laws that were in place. I don't know if you guys know by the way, also Beverly, Kelley from Habitat for Humanity and Patina Mays from the Fair Housing Center of Southwest Michigan are our guests. The story of the bottoms in Battle Creek?
Yes.
It was it was an African-American community with African-American businesses, kind of self-contained, a lot of home ownership in those days. And then along about 1960-ish, around in that area, a lot of the more affluent citizens in Battle Creek who wanted to move out of the north side of Battle Creek to like Gogwak Lake and build new homes there. And so they annexed that area to the city so that they could still serve on the city commission and live there. And then they took the big houses up on the north end and they turned them into apartments. And then they raised most of those bottomland because they were prone to flooding. And so all of a sudden home ownership took a huge shift away from home ownership to more rental among the minority community in Battle Creek. And I think that was very much by design. And this, again, was before the Fair Housing Act, way back when. So stuff is nothing new. But Katina, do you feel like we've made good progress in the 50 years since the Fair Housing Act or not?
I feel that we would like to be further than what we are. After 50 years, I really don't think that we should see as much discrimination as we still see across the land, not just in Battle Creek and Kalamazoo, but across the land. We do trainings all across the United States with other fair housing centers, and just to hear some stories that still come up, it's disheartening.
Do you think that, and this could be a question for anybody, are there cases where realtors think they're doing the best for people, but might make suggestions that really are, I guess, contrary to fair housing?
Yes. We educate. So one of our main things is to educate those that may not know. And we've come to learn that a lot of them that had been discriminating didn't realize that what they were saying and some of the actions that they were taking was discriminatory. But then there are some that seem like they're blatantly discriminating and that they should know. You know, they definitely should know not to say that or not to do that.
There'll always be those people, but we can really make inroads, I think, with the people who don't even realize they might be offending somebody.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I guess that's part of what this whole thing is about. There's going to be a community discussion after the speech by the author, Richard Rothstein. So we're kind of going to get a lot of different viewpoints, both, you know, how the law has changed and where our community is at, a lot of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I might also ask, too, what's been the reaction of the city of Battle Creek and city officials when you start talking about these issues?
So when we started the project, we brought a lot of partners to the table. First of all, we reached out to say, is anybody even interested in bringing something like this to Battle Creek? Is it an issue? Is it important? And overwhelmingly, all of the people that we reached out to, all of the organizations said, yes, absolutely. So the city of Battle Creek has been at the table from day one. They've been great partners, but we also have partnership from Habitat for Humanity, the Battle Creek Coalition of the Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation Initiative, VOCES, Kellogg Community College, Neighborhoods, Inc., Willard Library, the Fair Housing Center, BC Vision, and of course the Battle Creek Area Association Realtors. So it truly is a community collaborative, and we're really working together to make this happen, which is perhaps why we have 125 people RSVP'd for next week. But there is still room for everyone, so we still encourage everyone to attend. And we also had a pre-event last night with 65 people. So people are interested in this topic. They want to improve the community, and they want to learn about our history. It's important to learn about that history so that we can move forward and do things differently.
Like I said, actions speak louder than words, and you know, a lot of times we have great intentions, and we want to overcome segregation. We want to just be a colorblind society. But go to pretty much any church any Sunday and look around. They're among some of our most segregated institutions. The lunchroom at school. There's another one. You know, I think we still have a lot of work to do. You know, let's get the details out to people again, because this is open to anybody in the public. Anybody within earshot right now can come and have a free dinner, hear the speaker, and participate in the discussion.
Okay, it's next Tuesday, January 15th. It is at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church at 636 West Van Buren Street. It starts at 5. We have dinner at 5 for everyone. Mr. Rothstein will start his presentation at 6 o'clock. There will be discussion, and it is a time for all of us to learn and think about what we can do moving forward to make sure that what is happening doesn't happen anymore.
And if somebody's interested in talking with Mr. Rothstein about his book, The Color of Law, Forgotten History of How Our Government Segregated America, but can't make it next Tuesday, he is going to do a book signing at the Mitten Word Bookshop in Marshall.
No, he's going to do a bookshop signing after his presentation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the books are provided by the Mitten Word.
Sorry, I read that wrong.
Okay.
I read that. And you're going to have childcare provided for people who have that obstacle?
Yes, childcare will be provided, and we'll also be providing Spanish interpretation.
Oh, excellent.
So for those Spanish speaking community members, that will be available. But the important thing also is to RSVP, because we want to make sure that we have enough space and food for everybody. So if you are interested in attending, you can contact the Battle Creek Area Association Realtors at 269-962-5193. Or you can visit our website, and there is an RSVP form on our website, and that's www.bcaar.com. And then you can click on Community News, and you will see the event right there.
And we'll put all that up on the 95.3 WBCK website, along with a video of our interview and the details, so that people can just go to our website and click on that if they'd like to RSVP or find out more information about that, or author Richard Rothstein.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks very much for being with us and also banding together to address a very important topic for our community. Amanda Lankerd, CEO of Battle Creek Association of Realtors, Patina Mays, Fair Housing Center of Southwest Michigan, and Beverly Kelley, Habitat for Humanity. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Have a great one on Tuesday.